there, and welcome to the channel. I'm Cindy Daycheck with Queen Bee Creations. Thanks for tuning in. Today we are going to fill this big, beautiful door basket. Now, it flips forward, but that's because it's meant to be flush against a door. You could do it on a wall. I'm planning on doing it on a door. So it has floral foam in it, and I am just looking to kind of tuck in a little bit of moss just in case. This is always so messy, the moss. Dirt everywhere, which really, I mean, it's in my shop and it's pretty messy in here anyway, and there's no way that you can combat all of the dust everywhere. Nobody could keep this place totally dusted. So it is what it is. But I wanted to do something with this because it's just beautiful. And you know what? They sell better full than they do empty. So here's what I've got. Because you know me, everything that I have is thrifted or dollar store or something. So I have a lot of greenery, and I like to, this is going to be the back, this is going to be awkward. I'm going to have to use the camera to be I think it's the dust. So we're going to have to use the camera. It's going to want to tilt toward me to see what I'm doing. Okay, I'm doing this backward. We'll see how backward goes. So I have some of this greenery, and I always like to start with the greenery rather than the flowers, just because this is the filler. This is what kind of fills in around the flowers, and it gives me an idea of how many flowers I need, right? So these are just old and they're short stemmed, but it's going to be perfect. And I like to start, it's got a really fat end going through my moss here. I like to start always at the edges. Ooh, it's gonna be big, it's gonna be beautiful. All right, okay, so I like to start at the edges, and then I like to come into the back. Now I know that I have some little short flowers. Okay, I can't even see in the camera anymore. Oh Lord. Okay, so I know that I'm gonna want these in the back so that as it's against a door, okay, I'm working from my lap now. As it's against a door, we're gonna have some of that height to the hanger, so it looks really full. Now I have another one of those, and I do, okay, this is an awkward shape to do at a table where you're trying to make sure that you can still see a camera. I just had a shake for lunch, a strawberry shake, and I think I have a strawberry seed sitting in a weird spot. Just stuff like that happen to other people or only me. So I have one more of these that I'm going to save as I see with some of my florals, because I'm going to want a bit of greenery in between, and I can separate these leaves. I also have these guys that I don't mind, that if I find that I need a little bit more width, then I have two of those. So let me grab some of the, keep my greenery here. Let me grab some of the florals that I had in mind. And yeah, all right, to start with, I have three of these beautiful kind of blue toned hydrangeas. They are already cut down to a short size though, so I don't have a lot of variation with them in terms of height or volume. So what I'm thinking, okay, I may have to kind of work sideways here. So I'm thinking we'll play with the grouping of threes. I mean, luckily there's three. So I'm gonna do one in the center and a little bit back, and then one in the front to the right and one in the front to the left. Now, always when you're doing arrangements of any kind, you want some variation in height. We're gonna have the greenery up high. So you want some variation in height, and odd numbers are kind of the way to go. Are just, of course I tucked all the florals this side. And now I'm working the opposite direction. Figures, okay. So, I only have one of these. I got it from the dollar store, I think, and I just thought it was lovely, and they only had one, and I thought, I could do something with one. Well, now I only have one. I would love more of these sticking up out of it, but it's past their time. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the one, but we're gonna put it kind of right in the middle. It's not gonna seem so weird. It's not gonna seem as weird having just one. And I have a bunch of white. I didn't have any more kind of in this soft blue. It's a weird color. It's kind of bluish. It's a little, oh my goodness, that tag was a tough tag. It's kind of bluish, a little bit mauve, but you know, flower arranging is not as hard as people think if you kind of keep in mind just some of the basic rules of it. So I have one of these strands, and I like them because they're just little and spiky like this guy. So I just need to cut them apart though, because they're all in one big clump, and I need them to be separated. So just because your strands, you know, like this, came 5 to the clump, and they usually come in odds. It's the rule. You want 3s, you want 5s, you want 7s. It always looks more aesthetically pleasing to our eye, and that's really what you're working from. So some of these are taller, and a couple of these are shorter. So I want some of the taller ones just up toward the back. So kind of, where's the other tall guy? Just slightly off to the side of that singular blue guy, right? So you can see how those two are kind of framing. So we've got 2 more we'll put on the other sides of each of those. Let me look for 2 that are about the same height. Perfect. Now, of course, I thought this was after I was done filming, but I forgot to push record. So let me catch you up on what happened. You'll see those almost like rose, white rose flowers. I had 2 groupings of 5. And so I put one on the right, one on the left, in between the 2 spiky white ones, just so that, again, I had a little bit more density of flowers, because the hydrangeas are fairly dense. So I needed to have kind of, I don't want to say clumping, but kind of clumping happening there, so that we had some of the density balancing out along with some of those singular flowers. Now these droopy kind of white guys, I don't know what they're called. I don't know any names of flowers hardly. I've selected these because they've got a textural difference. I didn't want this to look too structured, too triangular in shape. It's looking a little more semicircular actually, but I wanted something a little softer, and they've got a bit of a drape to it. So I cut those apart, hung some down in the front, and now I'm just adding some taller sprigs in the back to bring a little bit more height, to kind of balance off against the height of the leaves, and to give it all just a little bit more softness, because they aren't as structured as some of the other flowers are. So Today's video, I mean, really, it comes down to is more about flower arranging, but I get a lot of you that ask about how to put them together or what are the things to look for. So I hope I gave you a couple of the general little rules to think about. Now, one of the things, I hated that any of the flowers are flopping in the back. So what I did do is I had this old peace sign, wooden peace sign. So I stuffed it down in the back. You can't see it from the front. It's pushed down far enough, but it gives kind of a support to all of those front facing leaves. And this is our finished bouquet. So you can see that, you know, if you like it super structured, then you're not going to want to put those little droopy flowers in. But I really like how it's kind of structured. It's got that rise, right? It kind of extends out the side, comes up and peeks out, even on the other side, you know, relatively even. We've got the low to the high. We've got the threes, you know, even when we just have a single bloom, we can use that to be able to add a little bit more of that color, but give a little bit structure. And you can see that I've got large, I've got small, in between. So we've got a lot of textural difference happening here too, which is a very different look than if you're doing all roses perhaps, which can look lovely, but this is just a little bit looser. I love the wrought iron handle on this, the wicker base. It's gonna look gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous hanging on a front door. I hope that this, for those of you that don't do your own flower arranging, that this maybe inspires you to try putting together your own little arrangements. Easy enough to play with, if nothing else, when you're looking at working with all thrifted and dollar store items. Most of this was thrifted. I think these guys were dollar store, that's about it. So it doesn't have to be super expensive in order to be able to put together something that's gonna look really beautiful on your door. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, check out the website, queenbeecreationshome.com, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Take care.